Welcome back to Pickleballers. Today we have Terrell Owens, the greatest wide receiver of all time.
Living in the South, I didn't even think that I would play beyond the collegiate level. I grew up in a household where my grandmama raised me and my mama raised me. Low income family, I was on welfare, all those things. So going to the pros, I looked at it as an opportunity. Obviously, like I said, nobody in my hometown in a million years would have thought that I would have been the one to have gone pro. The path that I'm taking with pickleball is kind of like how I was with learning football. I don't consider myself a pro by any means, but I'm inching closer and closer to that. Never been on my radar to play pickleball, but now I have a desire to actually get up and do it. To separate yourself, to be a Ben Johns VD guy for pickleball, but there's a lot that goes to it. The way he thinks about the game, and all these guys, they're playing checkers. These guys on the pro tour, it's chess. People may not know me as football, but when they left last night or today, yo, TL plays pickleball.
Welcome back to Pickleballers delivered by DoorDash. Today we have Terrell Owens, the greatest wide receiver of all time, and he's now a pickleball player.
Hall of Famer as well.
Thanks so much for being here, man.
No, I appreciate you guys for having me, man. This is good. This nice little setup here.
Thank you, brother.
Really appreciate you making the time. We just came from Worlds. I know you got a million things you could be doing, so we very much appreciate it. And you're a legend, man. I'm excited to dig in and hear your story.
We always like to start off by kind of getting deep and personal into kind of what life was like starting out. So take us back to your childhood, where you grew up, and what life was like.
I grew up in a small town, just north of, just south of Birmingham, north of Montgomery, Alexander City, Alabama. I went to Benjamin Russell High School, where I played 4 sports outside of football, which obviously a lot of people know me for. But
Baseball, basketball, track.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Baseball, nice. Basketball, and I ran track. And so, living in the South, I wasn't fortunate enough to go to, if I had a dream to do anything as a youngster, it wouldn't have been to play in the NFL. I would have loved to have played for the University of Alabama. Mm-hmm. But that wasn't the case. My skill set didn't afford me the opportunity to play there. And Auburn was right there in the backyard. But I got a scholarship to play at the University of Tennessee at Chattanooga. They were recruiting one of the receivers, Derek Hall, who was our starting receiver football, and he played. He ran track and he played basketball too. So I just kind of got to Chattanooga kind of like on a package deal.
And you got no offers from Bama or Auburn?
None.
What a mistake.
None. And I people always say that, but I don't think it was a mistake considering, honestly, because I'm a person that's realistic about my skill set and my talent at that particular time. It just didn't warrant me to be on their radar for them to even recruit me. So, even when speaking to kids, I just tell them just follow your path. You just never know where it may lead to. Just be true to who you are and play a number of sports because you never know what you may be good at. So again, even when I went to Chattanooga, I walked on the basketball team. I made the basketball team, and so I played 3 years basketball. So I got a chance to play in March Madness, got to play in the NCAA
nice.
tournament.
Oh my gosh!
So
how far did y'all go?
The year that I left, they made it to the Sweet 16. So that was fascinating to watch, to understand, cause I felt like I was part of it, cause the year before, they were just, they had the guys that we just needed a few more players here and there to get over the hump. And, with anything with sport, especially a team sport, sometimes it takes that one player or two to get you over the hump. And that's how it was with basketball. So that next year, I was rooting for those guys to get deep into the tournament.
Let me ask you a question. So you said your skill set wasn't quite there to make it to Bama or Auburn. Was it developmental? Was it just you didn't have the raw skills yet at that time?
It was a little bit of everything.
Okay.
I think developmental, just size, speed. Again, I think you look at a receiver. Ideally, you want to be 6 feet and above or what have you. But I was just a little over 6 feet. I was 6'1" when I left high school, maybe 180, 85 pounds soaking wet. But I got into the weight room, during the summers of college. And then, like I said, I just kind of blossomed. I was a late bloomer. So I started to kind of feel my body out. I got a little bit faster, bigger, obviously just doing the necessary thing as an athlete. Football player, you got to lift weights, you got to eat in your training table, all those things. So, and as you grow, your body's going to grow too. So those are some, my body just kind of matured and developed later than than everybody else. So,
when did it click in college when you were like, all right, I can maybe go to the NFL?
My freshman year, I didn't really play. The coach that I had, he didn't really allow any of the guys that they recruited to play any other sports. So throughout my freshman year, again, I was probably maybe a 2 or 3 star. You know, when you rank guys, 4 or 5 star, like 5 star, like you're exceptional athlete. Like you can probably play anywhere in the country. At best, maybe 2 or 3 star. I'm just being realistic, just based on my size and then just my skill set. I was really raw and green.
He didn't like you playing basketball at the time, though?
Yeah, I mean, I played, like I said, all the sports, and I had enough skill set and talent to make the teams, but I wasn't starting.
Yeah, but I'm saying, was the reason you weren't starting because he was like, you're playing other sports?
Well, no, like in high school, in college, no, he was. I mean, in college,
you weren't there.
I was just raw green. I just had to really develop, the receiver at the receiver business, my skill set to be a receiver, and so it just wasn't to the level to obviously in the evaluation of their eyes to be put on the field to contribute to play right away. So I used scout team, like the practices. I was on scout team running the cards for our number 1 defense, getting them ready for the upcoming games. And so I didn't, like I said, I realized that I wasn't a starter right away. So I just took those opportunities to run plays for the other guys to get myself better, even route running, catching the ball, and which those are things that I wasn't really great at.
Did you think you were gonna eventually be a starter and be great?
No, I didn't really, like I said, I didn't think that far ahead.
Yeah.
To the point, like I've told a number of people, like I didn't even think that I would play beyond the collegiate level. I just, at that time, 17, 18, coming out of high school, getting into college, like I didn't think that far ahead. You know what I mean? I was just thankful to even just to get a scholarship to go to school. Because outside of that, my family, I grew up in a household where my grandmama raised me and my mama raised me. Low income family. I was on welfare, all those things. So,
how many siblings?
2 sisters and 1 brother in my immediate family. On my dad's side, I had 5 sisters, 4 sisters at the time that I knew of. But I just never, thought anything beyond going to college outside of just being a student athlete, because my mom, they wouldn't have been able to afford me to go to college anywhere. So that scholarship was obviously like, my ticket, my ticket and my opportunity.
So when you're a kid, a lot of professional athletes, right, they have that big dream. They've visualized this. They've worked for years and years. And just being a tennis player, a lot of tennis players start off really, really young and they work their whole life to get to a certain point. Mm-hmm. You're saying that you didn't really even think that far ahead. Looking back now, one of the greatest wide receivers of all time, you just kind of took it day by day and just put in the work each day and just was like, whatever happens, going to happen.
Bro, I remember I tell people all the time, we played 6A, so we were like one of the biggest schools, in our area. So we had almost 100, like 90 to 100 football guys on the team. So I was just one of the 100 guys. You know what I mean? If you had to rank them, I probably made 98, 99. Wow. That's how it was. But I was second or third team on the depth chart as at receiver.
Was this your sophomore year, junior year?
No, we're talking high school.
Yeah. Is it your senior year?
My junior year, because freshman, sophomore you play JV, junior varsity.
But you can play on the varsity if you're
if you're good
but you weren't there.
Yeah. When we had some guys that were that literally he played JV. We had a running back, Cedric Kendrick, like as a junior, he was already like making appearances on ESPN.
Wow.
That's how good he was. And then like he played maybe a couple of games as a freshman, and then the coach bumped him up like right away because he had the ability to contribute at the varsity level. There's no way that I would have been able to do that in a million years. But you use JV as a developmental of your skill set and then the game itself. So, I played tight end. I didn't even play receiver.
Oh, wow.
I was playing tight end.
You know what, Jared? The other day I got to pickleball practice and I realized I left my balls at home. So I downloaded the DoorDash app and I got them delivered to my court. You know what's crazy is the other day I was starving, but I wanted to play that one more game. Had my DoorDash moment, played the game, on the way home, order the food, Chinese food, waiting for me, DoorDash. Download it today for all of your pickleball needs.
Who were your role models? Or did you have any? Were you even watching
basketball?
The league?
Like Michael Jordan. Like I was like every other kid in the country. Like everybody wanted to be like Mike. When you got a glimpse and you kind of knew who he was, and you saw, the persona that he played with, the swag, and just the skill set that he played with on a nightly basis, and just the tenacity that he played with. Win at all costs. You know what I mean?
So awesome.
So yeah, you grow up and you see these athletes, and then so crazy to me. I recall just like watching him on TV playing against the Pistons or the Lakers, the Showtime Lakers. And then years later, I ended up being part of Brand Jordan and meeting Michael Jordan. So it's so crazy.
Insane.
But
you didn't dream this out.
No, I never thought I went to college because I got a scholarship.
Yeah.
If I wouldn't have been offered a scholarship, there was no going to college.
What do you think you'd be doing if you didn't play in the league?
Honestly, I have no idea.
Professional pickleball.
I mean, I'm sure. I didn't know what pickleball was back then. At that time,
professional pickleball is still in your future, though.
No, absolutely. Yeah. But the same approach again, like I said, just the path that I'm taking, literally with pickleball, is kind of like how I was with learning football. Really didn't have no background, like no clue about it. But as an athlete, I mean, you just play in the South. You just play whatever that you feel like you're good at. In high school, like I said, you try out for teams, and then you play, and you either stick it out. You're either going to play or you don't play.
Yeah,
you're figured out at some point. And then football, that's a little bit too physical for some people. You know what I mean? You take a couple of hits. Some people are like, no, I'm not built for this. Again, like I said, I remember playing JV games, like being scared to go across the middle street, scared to get hit, all those things. They're just part of, developing and being a football player and just an athlete in general. So same thing with pickleball, like especially this is obviously uncharted territory for me, just picking up this game last year, picking up a pickleball paddle for the first time. And then
tennis background.
None. And then obviously, like I said, coming to Dallas last year for, I think that was the second Worlds. Yeah, second Worlds. And, so yeah, that was my first time. And then coming back this year, different experience.
I mean, you're so much better. It's crazy how much your game has improved in the past year.
So again, it's similar to, my progression and with learning the receiver position.
Yeah.
Kind of like my development, I guess, obviously, like I said, when I left college, I wouldn't even say I was a star in college. Especially definitely not in high school. But in high school, what motivated me and what drove me was that being on a team, obviously you put in the work, you're practicing all week, and then on Friday night, like I said, it's like Friday night lights. You drive. I remember being on the bus, approaching the stadium, getting ready to go in the locker room, and you see the stadium and you see the lights in the horizon, and closer and closer you get to the stadium. You see everybody filling into the stadium, cars passing by. We got our police escort, and the closer we get to the locker room, and you get to the stadium, you're starting to smell the hamburger, the popcorn, and the soda. And then,
so like visual, I love it. Like you.
Yeah, man. Then you get in the locker room, and then you get to your locker. You put on your uniform. Then you go out and you warm up with the receivers. Everybody goes out in groups, and then you warmed up, and you're jacked. You ready to play?
You're feeling the energy.
Only to sit on the sideline for 4 quarters. And I'm watching everybody else make plays. And, we had superstars. Like, to me, according to me, like, I'm watching guys that were better than me. They had the talent to play. And I'm cheering them on, but I'm watching the crowd. You know what I mean? I'm watching the ebbs and feeling the ebbs and flow of the game. Offense needing to make a big play, or defense needing to make a big stop, or they make that stop, or we have a running back make a big play, receivers make a big play, the quarterback making a timely throw, and I see and I feel the crowd behind me. Like, to be that player, I never was.
Wow.
So I sat on the sideline. That's how I was, like, all 4 years. And so I didn't really get to start until like I think it was like my senior year, senior year, and it was only one game because the starting receiver, Ricky Morgan, I was on the depth chart behind him. He got sick during the course of the school year that Friday. And so, he wasn't able to play. And the running back coach, his offensive coordinator, he basically told me, he's like, yo, Ricky can't play today, sick, blah, blah, blah. He's like, you're starting tonight.
And what was that feeling like?
I mean, I remember coming to my locker. He's like, look, you're starting in, you're filling in for Ricky. He's like, hey, just do what you've been doing in practice. And he's like, yo, you're gonna score a touchdown tonight.
Did you?
Scored a touchdown.
That's unbelievable.
Your first touchdown.
591 comeback. I remember it like it was yesterday.
It's amazing.
Ran the route, came out, caught the comeback, stopped. I think made the defender miss, and went to the end zone.
And so do you think that moment right there was the start of the switch flipping? Do you think without that moment there, you wouldn't be Terrell Owens, T.O.?
I don't think that was a defining moment for me because, again, like I said, that was a game that like I filled in, I started. And then, like I said, throughout the course of the year, I filled in like third down situations or in rotation or whatever where
After
I played.
that.
Yeah, after that where
So
I played.
You weren't then like a starter after.
No, I wasn't. I didn't get penciled in as a starter. I still went back to being on the second on the depth chart or whatever, and
This
played.
is your senior year?
Yeah, and so I played. I had a few plays here and there, and again, like I said, I played tight end some too.
Yeah.
So that just shows you, like I said,
There really
if you
wasn't
just
a plan.
stick with it. Yeah, there was no plan. Like,
That's great, man.
I didn't even like I said, I didn't even know what the process was. I didn't even know that going into and after my senior year that I was being recruited because I knew that I wasn't a star. Like I didn't have enough stats for somebody
think
like,
you were
oh
gonna
yeah,
get
like
there.
they're coming to look at me to offer me a scholarship. Because they were looking at the other guys, they watched film and they saw me make a few plays here and there, which is what I was told is why they offered me. And again, my physical size, like I said, I wasn't the biggest or whatever, but I had, like I said, they understanding at that time, knowing coaches and how they evaluate talent. And you see me as a skinny 6'1", scrawny kid, like there's growth. There's some development there for me as a 17-year-old kid. And so that's how it all began.
Good vision.
Yeah, and so my freshman year, I didn't really play that much. Then when I did play, it was toward the end of the season. I got in, I think it was like 8th or 9th game. I got in, we played Marshall. I caught a seam pass, caught it, safety hit me under my shoulder, pad, broke my collarbone.
Jeez.
I was like, bro, it's like the most excruciating pain ever. Broke my collarbone, so I was done for the rest of the season. And it was so late in the season, I couldn't get a medical red shirt. Mm. And so literally, that was like my first
year.
Yeah, that was my first time literally playing. And so, but if I would have gotten a medical red shirt, I could have had an extra year or whatever. And then, like I said, so after that, I didn't do anything, just didn't have to go to practice for the rest of, because we had like 11 games, so the last three weeks of the season, I just stayed at the dorm with a couple of my other teammates that had gotten injured. We were playing Tecmo Bowl and, and Coach K basketball while everybody was at practice. And then my sophomore year going home, this was like the only time I went home for the summer was after my freshman year going into my sophomore season. And that's where I lifted with my high school team, and they had a workout program that they sent with us to work out during the summer by position. So I did the booklet with our workout and I did the high school workout. So I was doubling up on my workouts. I was running from my grandmama's house to my high school, which is about maybe a mile or so or whatever, just for conditioning. And then when I went back to my sophomore season, I didn't recognize it because when you're immersed and you're just doing it, you don't see it. The guy's like, bro, like, what did you go home and do? Like, I don't know if it was that noticeable, but it was like, bro, did you go home and get on steroids or something?
So
but that's how skinny and scrawny I was that they saw the noticeable difference. Yeah. And so, I got bigger.
So you were a very hard worker.
Yeah, very diligent. I told Matt and Cameron on the show earlier. I have my 3 Ds. When I reflect back on my career, when I think about like my success or kind of like how I got to be a Hall of Famer, my 3 pillars of success, I call my 3 Ds, which are desire, dedication, and discipline. And so I have my 3 Ds in pickleball as well, just kind of learning and understanding the game as well, and just being fun with it. My 3 Ds in pickleball are drives, drops, and dinks.
That's good. If you're wondering what this hat is that I'm always wearing, it's a pickleballer hat. And guess what? You can get your own too. Click the link down below to get access to the limited drop for this pickleballer hat.
My progression, with football is kind of like the same that I'm working through with pickleball.
Yeah.
With pickleball, I had no racket experience, none whatsoever. My youngest son, he was playing tennis when he was like 4 or 5. So I went to some of his tennis sessions or whatever, and then I kind of worked, kind of hit around with the coaches or whatever, because I'm like, okay, he was a lefty. And then I'm like, okay, as he gets older, I want to at least be able to kind of like hit and then train with him or whatever. So that was kind of like the extent of it. But with pickleball, bro, it's something that's challenging. Everybody always, use the phrase, are you in your pickleball era, or, are you addicted to pickleball? I don't look at it as an addiction. For me, being an athlete and how I kind of like visualize and analyze certain things and see the sport and where it is and growing. I look at it more as a challenge for me.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the challenge, like I said, trying to close the gap. Because like I said, I want to try to play in some pro tournaments. Like I said, I know we've talked about it early on last year.
Yeah, by the way, me and Tio are going to play his first pro tournament.
I'll be there.
We're going to play doubles.
I'll be there filming.
And so that's the goal. And like, I know that's far fetched. Like I know you may have been, it may have been shits and giggles when you told me that. But for me, when you told me that, bro, it's always been in the back of my mind. I'm like, I know you're far progressed with the sport than I'll probably ever be. But I'm like, okay, how can I close the gap to at least play with a pro player and be considered serious? You know what I mean?
That's like so cool to hear. Like the way you think about pickleball after you've already had such a successful career, you've accomplished more than most people will ever accomplish. But
before we dive into pickleball, we're skipping a huge part.
I know.
We're
not gonna dive into pickleball
legacy,
yet.
Right? So you start playing more at Chattanooga.
Yeah, like I think you asked me the question about like, when did it click? You know, what moment? Like I said, I didn't play much my freshman year. And then like I said, once I did, like most of my freshman year, I just remember practicing a lot. It was hot. It was in Chattanooga, Tennessee. It was down by the river. So the summers, bro, it was steaming.
Yeah.
And this is what, bro, we had to wear gear. Like, it's not like what they're wearing now.
Yeah.
Like they barely wear anything
Your
now.
full pads.
Yeah. And practicing the 2-a-days, bro, it was unbelievable. So that's what I remember vividly, being under that tree, under those benches, like when the break and the horn hit, running it, trying to get sucked down, Gatorade, water, whatever, just soaked. That's what I remember, more practice than I did games.
So the process you remember.
Yeah. So then my sophomore year comes, like I told you, I went home for the summer, lifted with my high school. Like they were starting their 2-a-days in their training. So I lifted in the weight room with them in addition to doing my own. And then my sophomore year, we played, I think it was late in the season. It was like October. I remember it vividly. October 2nd, 1993, 7:30 p.m. kickoff. Bro, might have been the most beautiful night. I remember where our stadium is like Chamberlain Field, right in the middle of campus. I remember seeing, it's like a full moon. And bro, it was like the best temperature for football like ever. We ended up playing Marshall. We beat them 33-31. I scored all 4 touchdowns.
Wow.
It's insane.
That and for me, bro, I thought I was on cloud 9. And might remind you, like after my freshman year, our coach got fired. So the second year coach came in, Tommy West. He was the head coach, my sophomore year. So I remember, I think I'm on cloud 9, bro. I remember game, going back to the room. There was a party and stuff afterwards, in one of the ballrooms. Bro, I was just like, man, on cloud 9.
Was that when a star was born or not?
I think that was, the starter, but I hadn't even really grasped what was happening.
Yeah.
All I know is those 4 touchdowns that I scored in that one game is more than I scored the entirety of my high school.
So it seems like there's a theme here where you're not ever think you really stay in the present. You don't think too far ahead in terms of, you just go day by day, and it's not like you're thinking, man, am I a star now? Man, have I made it? It's just like, I'm going to put in a lot of work, and if good things happen, and I'm just going to look towards the next day and try to keep doing that work and keep progressing. And I think that is seeming like the key to your success, just hearing your stories.
And being receptive to, people that are giving me information, whether it's your coaches, your teachers, people that have been there, done that. You know what I mean? When you don't know and you have coaches that are trying to coach you and teach you about how to, number one, I guess, better your position, play the sport, why wouldn't you? Those are the positions that they're in. Yeah. Just like you having a coach, Mariano, like being your coach, or me listening to you, you're a pro player, or you having more knowledge and you following the game. Like for me, I was receptive because I knew that I hadn't peaked. I wasn't even close to any of the potential that I knew that was inside of me.
Yeah.
So it's like continuous growth.
Yeah, just learning, constant learning.
Constantly, just constant growth, learning the position. Again, bro, like I said, I didn't know that I was going to become a Hall of Fame receiver. I had no idea that I was going to be drafted, with the San Francisco 49ers and play alongside the greatest receiver of all time in Jerry Rice, play with Steve Young. Like, I didn't even watch pro football growing up. That's how clueless I was to like, any professional sport. Like I didn't know anything about anything. I didn't even know who Jerry.
Real.
I didn't even know who Jerry Rice was until like my junior year in college. And the only reason I knew is because I played basketball, right? So it was after the season, they play intramural in the girls gym. I came from playing basketball, walked in our dorm room, and some of the players, they were watching a Monday Night Football game, and I saw the 49ers, they were playing, I think the Broncos or somebody, and that's where I first got a glimpse of Jerry Rice and knew who he was. That was like my junior year.
Were you blown away when you saw Jerry?
No, I just saw that
another receiver.
Yeah, I didn't know who he was. It's equivalent to like when I came here last year. I heard about Ben Johns. I saw him on the paddles in Target when I went to go search out some paddles. And then they say Ben Johns is going to be there, blah, blah, blah. And I saw him sitting there. And I'm like, he was really, very, very quiet, reserved. Like, number one player in the world, one of the greatest. I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So now, like I said, that day, being around, that was like the most pickleball players. Then I couldn't have told you 3 pickleball players.
Yeah.
Maybe one. I wouldn't be outside of Ben John, who I saw, and his name is plastered on all the paddles. On the paddles, like I wouldn't be able to tell you nobody.
Yeah.
Okay, so you have the 4 touchdown game, and then are you then a starter from there on out, junior, senior year?
I played. So I was starting to. So I think I think I started that game. So like I said, this was my second year coach. So based on like I said, training camp. I mean, obviously off season, this and that and the other. I think I was a starter. And alongside the receiver that they had brought from Chattanooga, brought from my high school as well, Derek Hall. So I think he played Z and I was X. And so fast forward, so that was Saturday. Had the party at night, Sunday, just chill, whatever. I think we had meetings. And then Monday, we had practice. So where our practice, we had like a shitty locker room, whatever. So we had to walk to our practice field. And so it's probably maybe a 5-minute walk from the arena to the practice field. And so we're all getting dressed and like I'm still like on cloud 9 from Saturday. And so it's Monday, we're walking down and then the Coach Green walks out. And so a couple of my teammates, we were talking about the game. And so they heard us talking about like, I scored 4 touchdowns. And my Tommy West, he overheard the conversation and he was like, you scored 4 touchdowns? And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I scored 4 touchdowns. I'm like, yeah, that was like out of night. And then he said, you think you've done something? He said, you ain't done shit. Boy, bro, I ain't gonna tell you. Like, he's like, you ain't done shit. I was like, oh, okay. So I was like, wow. So I didn't expect that response. And so, yeah, so after that, man, I just kind of like just grinded, and I'll always remember that moment when he said, bro, he's like, you scored 4 times, you haven't done anything yet. And so,
I kind of love that.
I do love
and
that.
I didn't hate him for like I didn't have any negative reaction to it. It was just kind of just caught me off guard.
Whoa, all right.
Yeah. So again, like I said, went to practice, and like I said, one thing kind of just led to another. And then like I said, my sophomore year, like I said, obviously I played a bit more, and then going into my junior year, like I said, I went in like preseason, like all conference, this and that and the other. And as the season unfolded and we were playing different teams, and so I got better to where I was more involved in the offense. They were throwing the ball to me, making, designing plays for me, versus the guy that was there, Derek Hall. He played, in high school, like he was better than I was. So my freshman year, he played as a freshman. So I would say he would have been, I guess, considered a 4 or 5 star, I didn't play a whole lot. He did. And then my sophomore year, my junior, we started, and then the attention started coming my way. I started getting double teamed. Like my junior year, I had kind of like, I don't know how many touchdowns I had, overall in college. But yeah, obviously I played better my junior year. And then my senior year, it was really tough to score because now teams play cover 2. They would double team me, things of that nature. So
you're on the map by your senior year.
So
nationally?
No.
Okay.
No, I was no. So we played teams like in our in Southern Conference, we played like ETSU, VMI, Western Carolina, teams like that.
Still D1, right?
Yeah, D1 AA.
I mean, Marshall.
Marshall.
Yeah.
And so Appalachian State. So I remember like after the games, we didn't win many games. Well, I'll just say this. Out of 44 games in my four seasons, how many games do you think I won? It's not a trick question. I'm going to
say 15.
Close.
10.
Close. In the middle. 13. 13.
So you weren't like winning a lot.
Right. 13 games in 4 seasons.
Yeah.
So, I mean, one year I think we went 2-9. And 1 year, the best I think we did was like 6-5. So that's 7 games right there. So, you know what I mean? So there's 6 other games that we won out of that. But after the games, like going, you know, shaking hands after the games, some of the coaches, they were like, especially like my senior year, coaches would tell them like, man, you may have a chance to play on Sundays one day.
Wow.
That still didn't even register to me.
Yeah.
I'm like, I was flattered, but I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Honestly, I didn't really think too much about it.
Yeah.
Because in my mind, honestly, I was ready for basketball season. Because we weren't bowl eligible. We didn't win enough games. So I literally, I was waiting for the season to end, and then the following week I was on the basketball court. So that's really what my thought process was. And then, like I said, you know, my senior year, I got a lot of letters from, you know, my coaches told me, like a lot of, you know, NFL scouts and things like that. Like they had, obviously with my trajectory and what they were seeing, the progression with my stats and stuff. And then obviously I got bigger. I had NFL size potential for a receiver.
What were you projected as in the draft?
Probably late, maybe 5th, 6th round. But when I went to the Senior Bowl and they saw me in person, saw my work ethic, what I did in during the practices during Senior Bowl week, my draft stock went up tremendously.
And
to the point to where at the very best they said late 2nd round.
And who came out with you your year, receivers?
Oh, there's like so many, like Eddie Kennison, Alice Van Dyke, Keyshawn Johnson, Marvin Harrison, Muhsin Muhammad, Derek Mays, Amani Toomer. There was like 11 to 12 receivers. Our receiver class was known as that draft. Was known
Keyshawn
as
and Marvin Harrison.
Right. That draft was known as the receiver draft. Like, you know how now they have, you know, they deem some of these drafts like the quarterback draft. Yeah. Our draft 96 was known as like the receiver draft.
And where were you drafted?
3rd round, 89th pick. So 11 to 12 guys went before me. Of those receivers in the Hall of Fame is just myself and Marvin Harrison.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you get to the league. What's that like? When do you, like, what's your mind? Because you obviously know now I'm going to be a professional football player.
Yeah, for me, it was just a matter of like, bro, like, you know, coming from where I came from, not, you know, having a lot of money, not having a lot of anything. Mm-hmm. Bro, I was just fortunate to just buy my mom a house.
Yeah.
That's what, you know, growing up in a single parent household and then, you know, being raised by my grandmama. And then, like I said, like, I grew up in the projects, stayed in the projects. I didn't grow up in the worst conditions, but growing up, I didn't have the best of anything.
Yeah.
And so I watched my grandmama, like, you know, looking back on, like, they were struggling. My mom had to work, like, you know, 1 or 2, 3 odd jobs. Now, she was a seamstress where she, you know, made clothes. She did alterations and things of that nature just to make money.
Yeah.
Just to put clothes on our back, food in our mouths, and at least have a, you know, roof over our heads. But going to the pros, like, I looked at it as an opportunity. Obviously, like I said, nobody in our family, our high school, my college, nobody in my hometown in a million years would have thought that I would have been the one to have gone pro.
It's amazing.
We had so many great football players and basketball players that I personally witnessed that were bigger, faster, stronger, jumped higher than I did, and they didn't make it.
Yeah.
When I came out getting ready for the draft, there was a magazine that came out, and it was a full spread in the middle, full spread in that magazine, and on one side was a picture of Jerry Rice in his uniform, and I had my Chattanooga uniform, and the title was called Diamond in the Rough.
Wow.
And this was before I even got drafted.
Wow.
And I ended up getting drafted to the San Francisco 49ers. So, like I said, to your point, like, I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And so
Roscoe, I was drafted, and I thought, okay, yeah, I'm gonna be here for the number of years that my contract said. It was like 3-year deal, blah, 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 3 or 4 year deal. And then I was hit, like, blindsided, because a month into training camp, we get back to our training site, and there were guys that were drafted, like, I think 2nd or 3rd round, they got cut. And I'm like, whoa, I just thought like, yo, if you got drafted, you're on
playing,
the team.
yeah.
You're a staple. You're locked in. Like I said, I was clueless about any of this stuff.
Crazy.
So because I was developing and like I said, they looked at me, because if you look at the receivers in the late 90s, you think about your Jerry Rices, your Michael Irvins, your Haywood Jeffries, your Mark Clayton, Mark Dupers, Jake Reeves, Chris Carter. Like these were big, tall, rangy receivers. J.J. Stokes, who they had drafted a year before I did. And I would say that draft class that I came out with, look at, Keyshawn Johnson, those prototypes or bodies, those were what the NFL was looking for as far as receivers.
Yeah.
So I fit that mold, especially with Jerry Rice. They had John Taylor, Mike Sherrard, those guys prior to me getting there. Then I said J.J. Stokes. So I fit what they were in need of. And so I had to develop. Bro, I was raw. I was really green. I don't know which was I don't know which I was greener with, football or pickleball. To be quite honest.
When coming from your upbringing, when you signed the contract, and I'm assuming you got a signing bonus.
Yeah, my contract I think was like $280,000.
But was that like
that was the most, like I'm sure most of the, not so you're probably, like that's the most money my entire family probably made their entire lives.
And so are you? I mean, because you seem so living in the present moment, as Roscoe kind of alluded to. Are you like, okay, I just got this $280,000 check. Are you like stoked, or are you just like, all right, I'm gonna use that and I'm gonna see what happens next?
Yeah, I go back home. So my grandmama, she was diagnosed with dementia, which progressed to Alzheimer's. She ended up ultimately dying in 2012. And so when I went back home after like my first year or whatever, around that time, back in the day, like, we put things on layaway when you didn't have the full amount to pay for anything. Mm-hmm. So she would always go to this clothing store uptown, and, she went to like some of the higher end stores where, a lot of more of the wealthy people shopped or whatever. So, my grandma, she saved money, but she liked nice things or whatever, but she would go to this one store and put things on layaway or whatever. And, she did that for me. And she really didn't have a true understanding. She didn't even want me to play sports. My mom is what kind of pushed and kind of like intervened to allow me to play sports, because she didn't like that. Yeah. And so she didn't even understand, to her dying days, she didn't even understand what I had accomplished by going and playing pro. I remember the first time I found an action shot, just going in a Walmart in California, and I saw one of my action shots, and I signed a picture, sent it to her, and she carried that picture everywhere that she went. Wow. So to the story of going to this store, like I said, for me, I feel like I'm rich. I'm $280,000 richer. Yeah. Then so she didn't understand what I had just done. And so we go in this store, and she wants to like buy me something and put it on layaway. And I'm like, Grandma, I'm like, no. This. I'm like, no, I got it. She goes, no. And she still like, till her die, she still didn't even understand like I had made it pro. Like even the amount of money that I was making. She still wanted to put whatever it was on layaway. And then it got to the point like, Grandma, I'm like, no, I can pay for it. So I ended up paying off like my grandmama's house, anything that was needed that they had to like work hard for it, and they hadn't paid off at that time, the balance. So I did all of that. That's
beautiful, man.
That's what motivated me to really to do what I did on the football field. Like I didn't say a whole lot, but internally, like when I trained, I always thought about my family.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. And so you get drafted by the Niners, and you're playing with Jerry Rice. Mm-hmm. Did he take you under his wing?
Everybody asked that question. It's like, yeah, did he take? It wasn't a matter of him taking me under his wing. Like Jerry was Jerry. Like I guess it would be equivalent for somebody playing on the court or being drafted and playing, on the same team with, as a rookie or whatever, with a Michael Jordan or a Kobe or
he's still doing his thing.
Or LeBron. Yeah. Jerry led by example. We had vocal guys on the team that led, in certain ways. Jerry was kind of like, he was like quiet. Like if he needed to assert himself or be vocal when needed, that he did. But he was like very meticulous. Like you've heard the stories, you've seen the videos of him, and the stories of his dad throwing bricks and catching. That's how he learned to catch this, that, and the other. He wanted to be who he is now at an early age.
Yeah, he knew.
Our work ethic, everybody that saw me and they saw him and witnessed him and knew about him, those are the closest eerily similar things that we have
Really?
to each other.
So you guys both put in crazy amounts of work.
Is our work ethic. And honestly, I didn't, like I said, but I liked other stuff. Like during the off season, I would play basketball, this and that. With Jerry, off season, during the season, it was constant football, like trying to get better, like catching bricks and doing all these things. Like in my off season, bro, I played basketball.
Yeah.
That was kind of like my outlet. You know, I didn't really focus.
You were less calculated.
Yeah, I wasn't trying. Like that wasn't my goal to be the best or the greatest receiver of all time. Yeah, did I want to become a better receiver? I did that in the process. But then after year 2, like year 3, when I made the catch against Green Bay, and leading up to that, I became more involved in the offense, and I saw, man, I was growing with the team, and I was headed in a direction like, yo, I could be a monumental part or a very integral part of winning a Super Bowl championship if I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. Granted, we had like a three-headed monster. You heard the three-headed monster as far as receivers. We had myself, JJ, and Jerry. And then in Minnesota, they had Randy,
Chris
Jake Reed, and Chris Carter. And they tried to say that, you know, they compared us as like the three big receivers. Like before the big 3 in basketball, it was like the big 3 in football. So that's how they made the comparison. And so with JJ, like coming from UCLA, like JJ, very polished receiver. Man, catch the ball like soft, like routes, like crisp, being 6'6", being able to transition, drop your weight, get in and out of your cuts like a 5'8", 5'9" guy. And Jerry, obviously, like I said, right at 6'1", whatever the case may be, like a surgeon when it came to route running. I was nowhere near that. I was like I said, I was
more raw.
Yeah, really raw. I was a project. You know, there was a lot of room for growth. They saw the potential. They saw the talent that I had. They just had to develop it. They had to fine tune it. They had to polish it. And so that's what those first 3 years were for me, as well as learning the game, reading coverages. Bro, I didn't know nothing about reading coverages. Yeah, you know, cover 2, cover 1, cover. But then it got to the point where there's cover 44. You have a safety, like all different.
So super complex.
The exotic coverages that these defensive coordinators are coming with to stop players like, you know, emerging players like myself and Jerry that became very dynamic on the football field. So I wanted to become a little bit like Jerry, and then I realized like I can't be him.
You're different.
Our body types are totally different. Our speed is different, and so I basically grasped whatever I could from a visual standpoint and watched him, you know, just in person, and then I watched film. But I had to add my own flair and I had to have my own toolbox for what I did best. I was more physical than Jerry. So initially, that's all I was doing. I was just out physicaling everybody. Mm-hmm. But I knew that wasn't sustainable. So I'm like, bro, I got to be able to like move lateral. Like I got to be able to move these guys, get them out the box, get up the field quick, learn how to read routes on the go. It's like playing pickleball. When you're going on a rally, you're basically trying to set your opponent up.
Yeah,
you know?
You're setting up patterns.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. So as a football player, those are some of the things that I had to learn because I was green, raw with the whole sport of football, let alone just my position itself. So my coaches, they poured into me because they saw that I had the potential. And they was like, yo, my coach was like, yo, if I didn't become good or great, it was only because of me.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be because of them, because they saw and they recognized the talent in which the Niners drafted me for. And they wanted to maximize it. And so, again, I'm like, yo, I watched everybody. Even when we had free agents that came and went, whether they were there for a week or two, they could have been there for like 3 months or the rest of the year. There was a reason. If you came in for a tryout or a free agent, you were there for a reason.
Yeah.
There was something unique or special about your skill set. So I learned from everything. And so the slot guys, there was a reason why they play slot, because they're not equipped enough to play outside. They're not tall enough or whatever the case may be. It could be speed or whatever. Yeah. But I knew that their specialty was what they were. So to play slot, you got to be shifty, get open. Your Julian Edelmans, your Danny Amendolas, people like that. I had to mimic some of what they're doing, and I did that with my work habits and then my training in the off season, because I wasn't a 4.2, 4.3, 4.4 guy coming out of college. At the combine, I ran a 4.63. Wow, bro, you got linemen running 4.5s, close to 4.4 now. So 4.63, bro, that's damn near tight end speed. at the very least.
And so after the Niners, you went to Dallas.
Went to Philly.
And why did it not work out in San Francisco?
I had signed an extension. I had a 7-year deal, and the 5th year was voidable. And my agent screwed up and didn't submit after the 5th year. He should have done it immediately after the season to void my contract to become a free agent. And for whatever reason, bro, he didn't do it and waited to the last day, the deadline. And because of the time difference, he submitted it like some hours too late. It was like a 3-hour difference. He submitted it too late. And so I became an unrestricted free agent. And so they tried to deal me wherever. And I'm like, no, I'm not just going to nowhere. So they tried to deal me to the Baltimore Ravens.
You have a trade. You had a.
It wasn't a no trade clause, but I'm like, at the height of my career, I was like my 8th going into my 9th year. So I wanted to go somewhere where I could flourish as a player. And so they tried to deal me. They tried to strike a deal because I didn't submit the paperwork for me to be a free agent. That where I could have like gone anywhere. Mm-hmm. They try to get a deal, strike a deal with some teams or whatever to get the most compensation for me. And so they tried to deal me to the Baltimore Ravens. And I looked at, the team defensively. They were good. They had Ray Lewis, all these guys, Ed Reed. But their quarterback was, at that time, I think was Kyle Bowler and some other people. Mm-hmm. And everybody was like, man, you didn't want to go play with Ray Lewis? I'm like,
who's throwing me the ball?
But Ray Lewis doesn't throw no passes.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. But I wanted to flourish, and Kyle Bowler was a rookie. And it had nothing to do with him as a person. But I wanted to go with somebody with more experience than I know that at the height of my career, that I wanted to. It would be like you trying to play mixed doubles with me last year. No experience. Like going to the court with somebody that's inexperienced.
Yeah.
Like, how is that going to bode well for
anybody? It wasn't good for you at the time.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So it wasn't, like I said, I
personal.
caught a bunch of flack, for not going there. But I'm like, I was looking out for my best interest, and they ended up striking a deal with the Eagles, which obviously, like I said, when you think about who I played with and for, they had a defense that was. I mean, I played against those guys, once or twice during the year in the NFC. So balled out against them. They knew what they were getting. I knew at quarterback what they had. I saw the tight end, Donovan McNabb. They had in the backfield. They had Brian Westbrook, Correll Burkhalter, tight end Chad Lewis, and then the defense was stocked like everybody. Brian Dawkins, Ike Reese, Corey Simon. Hugh Douglas, Jeremiah Trotter, like the defense was Lito Shepard, Sheldon Brown, like the defense was stellar. They had gotten to the NFC Championship 4 years in a row and could never get over the hump. They saw me as the missing piece on the offensive side of the ball to do that.
What's up, Pickleballers? I've got the Franklin C45 pickleball paddle here. This thing's played by J.W. Johnson, Hayden Patriquin, Paris Todd. It's one of the most versatile pickleball paddles in the market. Tons of power, tons of pop, tons of spin. You got to get this paddle. Check it out, franklinsports.com today. So had your agent not messed up, do you think you would have stayed in San Francisco?
Mm-hmm, for sure. No, and it wasn't.
So you were happy there?
No, yeah. It wasn't that I didn't want to be there by any means, even though, like I said, I don't think, that the head coach at the time, Mary Uchin, I don't think we were, like the best, had the best of a relationship as it relates to coach and player. But yeah, I mean, I would have wanted to continue to be there, but they didn't feel that I was, I guess, worth the amount, the money that I think that, my market value, kind of dictated. And then again, like I said, certain people I think within the organization didn't want me to be around. So I'm a person that I want to be where I'm wanted and welcomed. And so I just moved on. So
you go to Philly, and you played in a Super Bowl in Philly.
Yeah, I played a year and 7 games there. My first year goes well. Like I said, everybody was excited about the acquisition, as I was. First game out the gate, we played, I think, the Giants. I scored 3 touchdowns or something like that. And I think even from the preseason game, like it was off the charts. Like what they say now, it was lit.
And so Super Bowl 39, was it?
Yeah.
You have a broken leg going into
broken
it?
leg. I had 2 screws. I had surgery, had 6.5, 7 weeks from the Super Bowl, from the date of the Super Bowl.
6.5, 7 weeks. you had surgery. Super Bowl is in less than 2 months later.
Yeah, February. Yep. And so I had two screws inserted in a plate in my ankle, and then
Doctor saying you shouldn't play.
Yeah, I had to sign a waiver in order to play in the game because of the severity of my injury, and I didn't know my leg was broken until like the next day after that game. I had to go in and get an MRI just to kind of had to examine and kind of gauge the extent of the injury, and that's when because I told him that that night that I couldn't sleep and my leg was throbbing up toward my knee, so they're like, all right, we'll just give you an X-ray, we'll MRI the whole leg, and so that's when I found out that my leg was broken. I just blocked out like the Super Bowl. Honestly, it was almost a blur to me. Yeah. I don't really remember a whole lot.
Was there pain? Was there?
Yeah, I had a little bit of pain. Okay. Not even where I tore all the ligaments, where they had to insert the screws in the plate. They wanted to tape my ankle. So I didn't tape my ankles during the course of the season. I didn't wear tape in practice. And I'm like, well, what's the difference? Like, if I can play in practice, I don't need tape in the games. So I didn't wear tape in the games for like years. And so for extra precaution, they wanted to tape my ankle for the sake of the screws in the plate. And so they did that, and it was very uncomfortable. So I took one little lap, and so as soon as I came through the tunnel initially, the media was ready because they hadn't really seen me like really run in my uniform. So as soon as I came through the tunnel, all I could like cameras. And so I had my headphones on, I ran around the field, and I was just like, man, I said, there's no way I'm going to be able to play in this tape. So I immediately went right back into Rick. Rick was our head trainer. And I said, Rick, I can't play in this tape, bro. I'm like, it's hurting. And so then I went back out, started to warm up, and I ran around. And then right before you go in the locker room, before everybody starts to come out by position, I told Rick, he asked me how I felt. If they had had one of the other trainers to go out there and watch or whatever. And I felt good, but I was like, Rick, I said, man, I said where my leg is broken, I said, that's really the only thing that's hurting. And he was like, I got an idea. So he told me to go get my other stuff on. And so I went into the training room, and he literally, like I told you, like your bones spread a little bit. So that's what was causing some of the pain. So what he did is he got some tape, and he literally taped it
so it didn't spread
super tight right below my knee, so it didn't spread as much. And I took I think I took a Toradol pill or something like that that kind of helped manage the pain. Didn't have no pain during the course of the game. And like I said, when the game started, bro, like I was locked in. Once I caught that first pass, bro, I was like, yo, and I heard the crowd jacked.
Showtime?
Ready to go. And I wasn't 100%.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell you now, like on a percentage, like what I really was, but we know I wasn't 100%. But had I been 100%, bro, there's no way. Brady would be one Super Bowl short.
And what was the final score of that game?
24-21. We threw an interception on the last drive, I think last quarter.
As a huge NFL fan, I always thought that you won a Super Bowl.
No.
When we were driving over here, I was like, you won Super Bowls, right? That's
no. And I try to tell people, like, some people, like I say, when you talk about some of the greatest to play either a sport position or whatever, and obviously you hear the never ending debate about the greatest in basketball, whether it's, obviously they just skip over Kobe, but everybody's talking about LeBron or MJ, and obviously rings factor into like who's the greatest. And so I know I'm one of the top two greatest receivers to ever play in the game. And obviously there's three of us.
Who else?
There's obviously three names that always
Randy, you and Jerry?
Yeah, get thrown out there. And obviously no disrespect to Randy, but for me, I feel like I'm better than him in a number of ways. I mean, he did one thing great, and everybody know about the getting mossed. But just the overall approach to the game, how you play the games between the lines, not just catching, running, blocking. I did all of that. I encompassed like
and he had the physical. I mean, he had the height and the speed. It was unfair.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, everybody, when you talk about the greatest, I mean, it always sometimes boils down to rings. And for me, like I tell people, like there's a lot of, and I have to think back, because I feel bad sometimes because, people don't really think that I'm the greatest because, I don't have a ring or whatever.
I didn't even remember, so I don't think it matters that much.
No. But I mean, just barbershop talking, just people, just fans, just talking. And I said this in a I had a speaking engagement or what have you, and we got on a topic of that, and I got a lot of oohs and ahs when I said that. And I'm like, yo, I said I may not be sitting here as a Super Bowl champion, even though like I'm a Hall of Famer. I have a big Hall of Fame ring that looks like a Super Bowl ring. But I tell people like, yo, I may not have won a championship, been a Super Bowl champion, but you can't tell me you watch my film and you watch my body of work that I didn't play like a champion.
Yeah.
And so that's enough in itself for me.
Yeah. And so have you always been, I mean, I don't know you super well. I've hung out with you in Necker Island, and then, some this week. Have you always been pretty chill and humble?
Yeah, I'm a pretty chill person, despite what the media narrative has been about, of me throughout the course of my career, which is unfortunate. And you think about now where we are with social media and the social media platforms to kind of really dispute or dispel some of these things that were being said about me. And had we had these platforms, be totally different.
So you could get your own story out.
Right, yeah. And so I've always been this way. Trust me, bro, I've always been this way. This is not a front. Like people that see me, they sometimes I think are surprised because they expect the big personality or the charisma that they see on the football field. They expected, like Chad is like, he's like on a 10 every day. Yeah. Like Chad would have come in here and hugged you, kissed you, and kissed everybody all the way up from the elevator.
We're talking about Ocho Cinco.
Right, Ocho Cinco, He, my boy, he would have kissed everybody. Like, I love you, man. Like I feel the same. I just don't show it as openly as he does, and that's just who he is, and his character and his demeanor. But me, like when I play sports, I equate or I try to explain people. I'm like one of the superheroes. Like when you have like like Superman, there's Clark Kent. Yeah. You have Spider-Man. You have Peter Parker. You have the Incredible Hulk. You have David Banner. Yeah. For me, my character. Football, it would be T.O., and then my human element is Terrell.
And so when you run out of the tunnel, when you were playing, it changed. Like you turn.
Oh yeah, it's like a switch. Honestly, like it's a switch that.
Were you a showman?
No, I learned to be a showman. Like it's sometimes it's calculated, and sometimes like it's natural for some people. Like some people get off being a showman that helps them with their performance. But that wasn't the case for me because my skill set wouldn't have backed up the showmanship. So I would have been looking like, bro, you're a failure. You're like, what are you doing? You're doing too much of this and not enough of, producing. But once I started to realize what I could do on the football field, that was easy to kind of, in a sense, I guess, brand and market yourself. But it was entertainment. And as I grew with the sport of football and started to understand the business, I'm like, yo, this is just a big business. It's all entertainment. Yeah. And so I honestly, and people started to appreciate what I was doing with the San Francisco 49ers, scoring touchdowns left and right. Yeah. And they let Jerry go, and I was left to fill those shoes. They thought enough of me and my skill set and the trajectory of my career to let the greatest receiver of all time trade him away. So I didn't say anything about it, but over the years, like I thought about it, I'm like, yo, they saw enough in me to replace Jerry. That's just like somebody replacing Michael Jordan.
Did they see more in you than you saw in yourself?
Oh, for sure.
It's validating,
For sure. But that's the beauty of coaches. Yeah. And them understanding and evaluating, like coaches that have a number of guys.
So Mariucci, was he the guy who traded?
Yeah,
he did see.
But because he didn't know me, what you're talking about, me as a human being, as a person, he never took the time to get to know me. Yeah. Had he did, you have those people that are players that stay in organization for so long or whatever. Like, why these guys? Because those coaches or whatever, they got a chance to know that individual, to know that, okay, this guy is good, number one for their team, the locker room, but he never got a chance to really know who Terrell Owens was. He got fixated with the idea of this T.O. character was, and then the media starts saying this and that and the other, which a lot of it wasn't factual.
Do you have any regrets around the celebration and the bravado? And
no regrets, none whatsoever.
Even though people misconstrued it, it's just who you were.
If you're smart enough to understand and see beyond the media and see what they're doing,
agendas,
then you're able to see like, okay, he's not what they're saying he is. Yeah. Because if I was truly the person, disruptive guy, the distraction and just a bad character person that they tried to make me out to be. Like, bro, I've been out of the game like 15 years. You would have thought I would have had like some arrest and run-ins with the law.
Yeah.
Like those things would have followed me.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not going to just change overnight.
Yeah.
So that should tell you like truly like who I am as a person. And I'm not going around trying to prove to you like who I am. People get to see that for themselves 15, 20 minutes or, it's all about encounters and the moments you spend with people, and those moments are what you remember most. Yeah. Like I've been around Kobe. I've been around some of the stars. I've been around MJ. A lot of people love MJ. There's a lot of people that love Kobe, and there's a lot of people that hate Kobe. There's a lot of people that hate MJ. Yeah. There's a lot of people that have had an encounter with them expecting something, and it's the worst experience that they've ever had. And with us as athletes being a superstar, it's all about the experience.
Yeah. So Celebrity Pickleball was last night. Mm-hmm. Did I see when you first went out there, there were some nerves?
Oh yeah.
Because I saw in the beginning you were tight, but then you started kind of getting in your rhythm.
Yeah,
and
bro.
Then then T.O. came out.
Oh, bro. Like again, because last year, like I was terrible, bro. Like,
did you see the post that we did from last year?
Oh yeah, somebody sent it to me.
I'm just gonna be straight up.
No, I saw it was kitchen.
I did the post.
No, bro. It didn't bother me by any means.
Okay.
But for me, that's motivation. That's inspiration. That just shows you. From that time to where I am now,
it's incredible. It's
where I'm now. Like if you put in the work,
and
I talk about my desire, dedication, and discipline. Like, bro, like never been on my radar to play pickleball, but now like I have a desire to actually get up and do it.
Yeah.
The desire was to get up and go to Calabasas and meet with Vinny like 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, driving an hour or so to get there, driving to Malibu to train with him at his house. That's the desire. The dedication was like me actually doing that.
Yeah.
And the discipline part, like that's on me. So I wasn't upset about it.
It just
for me, it was an eye opener. Like it shows you like it was like how far I've come. And then like if you truly, people that are listening, like if you truly have a desire to do something, we all have a desire to do or be something in life.
Yeah.
And we have people that we use as measures or barometers of success. In the pickleball world, you have your Ben Johns, your Hunter Johnsons, your Paris Ties, your Anna Brent, your Roscoe Bellamy's. Yeah. You have those people that you look to aspire to be like. How do you get there? It's not going to happen overnight. Just even playing with those junior PPAs last night,
nasty.
Like bro, like that's dedication and then the discipline to separate yourself, to be a Ben Johns to be kind of like the spokesperson, to be the guy for pickleball. Like there's a lot that goes, like skill set, ability, you know what I mean? But that's a lot that goes into it. The way he thinks about the game, the way he sees the game, like the trajectory, not the trajectory, but the angles of the game, the shape of the game. All these things are mental things and process that you take into the game versus just looking at a ball going back and forth over the net. You dinking and cross court, this, that, and the other. It's all about ball placement.
Chess match,
it's exactly. It's chess or checkers. You know what I mean? Most of the people that are playing, in these tournaments that think that they're, they can play with a Ben Johns or Jack Sock or Patrick and all these guys, they're playing checkers.
Yeah.
These guys on the pro tour, it's chess.
So I do have a question about that, and I want to ask in a little bit, but I have two observations from last night and just I think who you are in general as a celebrity athlete in pickleball. First, last night I was on the bench when you were playing. You did not turn away one kid or one fan for an autograph. And I really respected that. And so when you were talking about being a human being and being, respectful and being like a good guy, I saw that firsthand. And I thought that was great. And there were some other athletes there that weren't doing that. And so I thought that was really cool. And then I'd say the other thing is there's been a lot of athletes that have come into the sport and they, were part of MLP or bought an MLP team. Most of them never played pickleball, but they just attached their name to it. And then there's guys like Drew Brees and you. And to see how much time and effort, I've talked to tons of people who say you're out there drilling all the time. I think that's awesome. And I so much appreciate someone like you who's a total superstar in life, Hall of Fame receiver, one of the greatest of all time, putting in the work into the sport because you love it. And I think that is, to me, like, it's such a great validation for the sport. And so just something I just wanted to point out. No,
that great observation on your part. And like for me, like just being here, like, I'm not Ben Johns, I'm not Anna Bright, I'm not Annalie Waters. I'm not Jack Sides. Like a lot of these kids, they know who they are. And then obviously with the intros, this and that and the other, you guys, with the intro, like spouting out, spewing out like my statistics, this and that and the other. And then just being here in Dallas, that doesn't, hurt the situation.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, like it's entertainment. Like to grow and see what pickleball has become, like in my eyes over the last 2 years, bro, it's mind blowing. And so me to be on that stage with, those stars, those
Best
pickleball stars, it was amazing. I remember playing against and seeing Anna, play against some of the girls. I think her and Jenna got into it. Was it last year?
Yeah, Jenna
I mean, she's feisty, and so I'm like, initially I didn't know who I was going to be paired with at first, but then I'm like, okay, I understood. Like with her, I haven't followed a lot, but I know about her, and then just with her, to me, like she wants to win. Like she has that fire.
Anna Bright,
yeah,
and she's a show woman out there,
right?
Yeah.
So I kind of felt that. I grasped that as we were playing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I didn't like, cause I never really seen her play a lot of matches, but I caught on that energy. I felt it right away. And so I'm like, okay, and I was playing with the new paddle that I just partnered with, and so they just sent me a new paddle called the Hyper. So I warmed up with it, and so I haven't really played with it.
Yeah.
So I put some weight on it right before, so I got a chance to really feel around and dink prior to the show. So that was my first time actually playing with it. So I had to get a feel for it. So if you saw how the game went, it was kind of like a little shaky at first.
I thought that was just nerves. Like, oh man, there's a packed stadium.
Nah, it wasn't really nerves.
Just getting adjusted.
Just adjusting to the feel of the paddle and hitting the ball and getting it over the net, whether it's at the net versus baseline, all those things. And then too, I'm like, bro, number one, I'm like, I felt good. Once I ran through the tunnel, bro, and I saw the lights, bro, like I told you guys coming over here, like, bro, I got like coming out of the tunnel football feel like vibes.
I love that.
You know what I mean? So it brought me back, and I'm like, man. And then just to hear the crowd, and then being able to really not just be here as a name, but really help promote and just really grow this sport.
Yeah.
With I want to be a quality product. I'm sure y'all could have invited a lot of people just for the name. And then, like I said, what was it going to do with the sport of pickleball?
Yeah.
And like I said, you got to be genuine and you got to be authentic with it. Because I mean, I even saw, some with the highlights that that was shown last night. Some people were still trying to dog me, and I'm like, bro, like why are they here? I'm like, bro, my game is definitely better than it was last year.
100%, night and day.
Right. So
last year was tough.
Oh, bro, I was like terrible. Like when it probably didn't show, like I said, because I signed autographs and stuff last year, and I had fun, but I'm like, it was eating at me because I saw how everybody's game was. Like I was probably the worst one probably there last year, to be quite honest. And so like Golden Tate was there. Like
Golden plays a lot. Golden's another guy. I've played with Golden a bunch.
Yeah, but I know they had experience. Everybody that played had experience.
Dirk had tennis
I've
background.
never that was like I literally probably had like a week of
Jenna played a ton.
So
you were definitely the least. You had
least experience. Yeah, for sure. So to your point about the fans, like bro, like
take it easy on him. Like he's only a year in.
Right. So I started, like I said, to feel the energy, and like I said, you never know who you may be an inspiration to. You know, whether I'm a pro pickleball player or a football ex or whatever, like Dirk or whatever. But for me to kind of like hold my own last night and play some against some like the top pickleball,
Waters,
bro, like so,
countering.
Yeah. So, and again, a lot of that, like I said, is me understanding and learning through my training sessions with Vinny Van Patten, Brittany Carr, Matt Manassi, everybody that's been helping me along this run. Stetson Owensby, that's in Houston, that's coaching me, been my trainer, pro trainer, over the last year or so in Houston. He's now working at Lifetime, so I do a bunch of sessions and stuff with him. I call him as soon as I get in town. I'm like, when can we get a session?
Yeah,
what time?
I love that.
And so that he's like, what do you want to work on? Bro, I've been working on my backhand, my Tui. Gabe out of Joseph in at Calabasas, like he helped me with my backhand.
He played today in a round of 16,
Yeah, so I attribute all the success that I'm having and what people are witnessing. I attribute all of that to
it's like Andy Reid, but
just being receptive, because I know that I don't know exactly what I'm doing, but I'm a sponge. I can learn. Like they'll tell you, my coach will tell you, like I'm very cerebral. Like I'm a sponge. I'm retentive when it comes to information. And sometimes people can learn by just either visual or repetitions. I'm a person that can learn by both.
Yeah.
But visually, if I see somebody can do it, it translates much quicker for me, and I'm able to do it and basically make adjustments. So I don't consider myself a pro by any means, but I'm inching closer and closer to that. Yeah. I want to play on like some senior pro circuits or whatever. What's so crazy is that people see me and they see me, how I move around on the court. Like guys, people that are like 30, 40, and they play in their age range bracket, they can't play up, but I can play down.
Yeah. And how old are you?
I'm 51.
51 years
51.
old.
So again, that's the advantage. And so I like playing with younger and like the higher level players.
I'm 49, and I play with a bunch of young people in Austin, and they'll be like, "Oh, you don't move as well." I'm like, "Just wait till you're 49. See how you play."
Right,
I mean, if
exactly.
you're 51, you're moving as good as the kids out there.
Yes, I mean, obviously that's a testament to really kind of like how I trained and how I took care of my body. You know what I mean? So I'm able to move, and hopefully I'm still moving like this, like, next 5, 6, 10 years.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm going to slow down at some point, but to move around and be very fluent with your movements. Like I said, I got to, take care of my body, just doing things, going to the gym, watching what I eat. Just when I go to the gym, I don't lift heavy. Yeah. I don't need to, especially in pickleball. It handles, I got natural strength just along, but then just think about the technology with the paddles. That helps. And you add the technology and some of the pop and the power that some of these paddles have.
And you're putting lead on the paddle.
Right, yeah. And like I said, adding some weight based on, what I want to do with the, the sweet spot and all those things. It bodes well for somebody that, like I said, for me, that wants to grow with the sport and really become dominant. Yeah. And like I said, when you control and manipulate that ball like you want to, I haven't gotten there. I see the guys like that have been doing it, but you're
driven, you're motivated.
Yeah, and I'm trying to close the gap. But like I said, I can't play this forever.
Yeah.
I was talking to Tyson McGuffin last night. I don't know how old he is, and he was just saying, like, he was like, and I asked him how it's been since I saw him last year. I know he's been over in Asia, Philippines, whatever case, and he was like, bro, I'm probably gonna got like about 3 more years of this. Yeah. And I'm saying to myself, I'm like, what? Like, he's way younger than I am. Yeah. Like he's had a lot of success, but just to see how smooth and just effortless, they hit the balls, and for me, it's just really, the game is slowed down and the ball has slowed down so much just with just coaching and teaching, especially hands play. And I'm like, bro, I couldn't even return a ball. Like now I'm like, you know what I mean? Yeah. But prior to that, bro, I was getting body bag like, I'm like, yo, how are you guys doing that?
Since we played in Necker on the beach court, I don't know if you remember this. Yeah. You're even leaps and bounds better. Yeah. And you were good then. You were playing well then. But now last night.
Right. And I played Roscoe's dad, Steve. Yeah. We played singles. We played like about 11, 12 games. I'm telling you, no lie. I was drenched. We were drenched.
Steve can play singles.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Speaking of Roscoe, he had to go back to the tournament. He's playing in the round of 16. So it's me and Tio from here on out. Me and Terrell from here on out. But so Steve can ball.
Yeah. So obviously, like I said, understanding what he's done and accomplished in the business world. Yeah. Obviously, establishing, creating a tennis channel. Yeah. And obviously, like I said, I got a chance to meet Roscoe and his other son, Luke, playing with him at Necker. I'm looking forward to the next Necker trip. Yeah. Obviously, I was looking forward to, like I said, I didn't know I was going to get invited back to this. And
I think it's great that they invited you back. Yeah. To showcase what you've kind of learned. Yeah,
and I too. And like, I know we were trying to do some stuff with our company, CPB, Celebrity Pickleball Bash. We were trying to intertwine and try to see how it worked. And then, they said, maybe next year. And then, so I was like, are they still going to invite me? So, Patty, who works with Ben, reached out and asked if they would have me. And I'm like, they asked me if I want to play. I'm like, I would love to. Yeah. So even like last night, when you saw the energy, you saw that it was almost like people that noticed, and you're very, like I said, you caught it, you saw a shift. Yeah. Like in my energy. Because initially, I was kind of like I went back there in the back to kind of warm up with those paddles. I had to put some lead on it because I hadn't played with them. And so just to kind of like go through that. And then they was like, oh, I'm playing with Anna. I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah. And then I'm like, oh, I'm playing with Anna Bright. Yeah. Then I was playing against Anna Lee Waters and Dirk. Yeah. And then the thing was, I'm first out the gate. Yeah. Like the first game.
They're throwing you to the wolves.
Yeah. I'm like, I didn't, bro. this is like I mentioned to somebody earlier. I'm like, I don't know how I get involved with these events, and I guess that's a testament, and I guess to who I am,
of course,
testament to who I am, and a compliment too, to what I've done to like have me straight out the gate.
Yeah.
I did Dancing with the Stars, bro, and similar to pickleball.
How'd you do on Dancing with the Stars?
Similar to pickleball, no dancing experience, didn't know anything about an 8 count, none of that, and that show runs like 10 weeks. I made it 8 out of 10 weeks.
Wow.
Never
dance, never
nothing.
Wow.
First, like obviously we went through the rehearsals, prior to a couple weeks before. First show, first act, me and Cheryl Burke, first out of the gate, first dance of the night. And I'm like, bro, so here we go again. Last year, y'all had me first out of the gate.
Yeah.
So I wasn't even really thinking about it this year. So I wasn't thrown off, but when y'all had the tunnel and the lights and I heard all the intros and I heard the crowd, I'm like, okay, this is. I was starting to feel kind of like in my element a little bit.
There was a 5 points kind of run there that we posted last night. So I think I titled it "T.O. went wild" or something like that.
Yes,
and you just went off. I mean, and I love the reactions after. One of my favorite thing about shooting pickleball highlights, obviously the points are great. I love actually before the point, seeing what someone goes through right before they serve or they return a serve, and I like after the point where you see the reaction and the emotion, and that was great. I mean, that's where I was like, "There's T.O."
Yeah, like and that's the thing is like last year, that's what I try to live up to the expectations.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't say I failed miserably, but I didn't live up to what people thought that they were going to see.
Yeah,
based on who I am.
Yeah,
but little did everybody know, like I literally had just picked up a paddle maybe a week or two prior to coming here.
Yeah.
And so what you saw last night
is a taste.
Yeah. And just
and
the preparedness and me understanding and me being comfortable and knowing what I'm doing. Yeah. Like the shots that I was doing, they were calculated. Like I knew kind of like where they were going to go based on where I placed the ball. And then obviously in the opposition, like they were playing, kind of play a little bit of chess too, a little bit. And then, obviously Dirk, he didn't have to move. Like you just tell, like he doesn't have to move. He knows how to play the game. Yeah. And that's, like I said, pickleball is like the new golf. Yeah. You don't have to be the most athletic. You don't have to be in the best shape. Yeah. It's a sport that's humbling. It doesn't discriminate. And so with him, like obviously being limited and less mobile with some of the injuries, he doesn't have to do anything. And he's long. He's like 9 feet long.
Like an eagle.
Right. Yeah. So he was just hitting the ball over and he was slicing the ball too. So I had to be conscious and saw that to not hit a slice with a slice. Yeah. So I had to hit flush and flat with the ball to get it over. I'm like, Dad, you're not trying to get me with this. Because that's what he was trying to do, to get me to hit it in the net. But I had already prepared for some of these things because I had already
Whereas last year, probably put it in the net.
Oh, yeah.
So you mentioned the chess game of pickleball. Mm-hmm. What requires more strategy and thinking? And this is going to be interesting. I'm just curious to see how people respond to this. Pickleball or football?
No, I would definitely have to say, both have their challenges in its own right. When you're talking about the mental, approach to the game. Like for a receiver, you think about like the different techniques of a defender, whether they head up, inside, outside, the coverages, where they're trying to disguise coverages. But when you talk about pickleball, I think more strategy is required to play pickleball, I would say, than football. Not that they both don't have their challenges in their own right, but in pickleball, you can hit a ball, against one defender or some other opponent, whatever. They may or may not get it, but then depending on your opponent, like if you put it out of reach or whatever, if they have the athletic ability and just knowing how to get the ball over the net, paddle angle, head down, or whatever the case may be, backhand, and try to figure out like what they're maybe weak at. If there's a weakness, especially with some of the pros, like they're kind of, weak in a lot of, strong suited in a lot of areas. You got to watch a lot of film and see what they're most weak or needs in areas. I don't want to say weak, but you try to exploit the weaknesses when you're
you have
playing.
to identify the weaknesses.
Right. and the tendencies.
So pickleball requires more strategy.
No, for sure. Yeah, just with ball placement. Like I said, we talk about the 3Ds, the drive, drops, and dinks.
Yeah.
You got to know when to drive.
Yeah.
You know, when it's appropriate to drive, when to drop, when to dink.
Yeah.
And then just looking for open spaces too. And then obviously, like I said, using your paddle to kind of like direct the ball.
What do you love about pickleball?
Overall, just the challenge of it, and then being able to manipulate and use an instrument to place and put a ball where you want to put it.
Yeah.
And like I said, understanding like the ball isn't solid. It's a ball with a bunch of holes in it, and it's a bunch of air that goes through it when it's in the air. And you can manipulate, the ball flight pattern based on obviously the texture and the face of your paddle. If you got a lot of grit, less or whatever, and depends on your comfort and what kind of paddle that you want to use.
What about the fun aspect of it?
Right? Yeah, I mean it's no fun to lose, but the fun part is really just seeing the results of the hard work that you put in.
So for you, it's about like the progression.
Yeah. Like I get like I'm dialed in with just a process of learning,
diligence, and
just
studying and
man. And like for me, like I still like say for me, like having my paddle up versus not like on the return at the net, not letting my hands drop, to be able to at the higher level, being able to react to the returns. Like for some, like the lower level, like you can hit a return 1 or 2, and you're gonna hit a winner. That's not the case with these higher level guys. It's coming back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's all about a hands battle. Like who's going to give up? Who has the best technique? Who's going to hit it into the net? And then too, like understanding like when to like hit do a lob.
Yeah.
All those type of things. When to hit a shallow cross court dink. Like I said, I haven't done an ATP yet.
Yeah.
That's the progression that I want to get to.
How about Ernie's?
Ernie's, I've done a few. Yeah, I've done a couple of Ernie's. Like Ernie's are very unexpected. It's just understanding too, like who you're playing, like where they're going to hit it, and based on where you hit the ball.
Awareness.
All of that.
What about the social aspect of the game?
Let me tell you something. I'm not the most social, and I think that was one of the, I guess things that people, that I guess a negative you would say early on in my career, because I grew up with my grandmama. We weren't allowed to go out and be social and play with other kids in the neighborhood, and so. This is a game like you're forced to talk. You're
close quarters.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and it's not I wouldn't say force, but it's a genuine and it's an authentic way of meeting somebody in just a casual way of introducing yourself, because you play open play. You're gonna play with different people.
Yeah.
And different partner, like so
it's brought out some of the social part of Terrell Owens?
Well, I think for me, I've always been somewhat social to a degree, but I think it's been eye-opening and warming for people to actually interact with me and see that I'm like, they see me as this football player, that's larger than life and accomplished so much great thing, but I'm normal, I'm simple. I try to tell people I'm ordinary, I just happen to do some extraordinary things on the football field. So to be in, like I said, close quarters with each other. It's like being on an airplane. Like sometimes you never know who you're going to sit with on an airplane, and sometimes you strike up a conversation. You sit next to somebody. Sometimes you talk. Sometimes you don't.
Great connection.
Yeah. So
I'd say pickleball has been really interesting for me. I've got to meet some pretty amazing people, some heroes of mine. You were kind of an enemy as a Falcon fan, but I looked up to you as like this incredible receiver. But Drew Brees or like Jamie Foxx. We play with Rob Gronkowski, and pickleball to me has been like the great connector.
No, for sure. Business-wise, like I said, pickleball is like the new golf.
It is.
So
what do you mean by that? Pickleball is the new golf?
Because everybody always talk about, how golf you can, obviously you're playing 18 holes. You're out there with somebody for like 3-4 hours. So there's no telling like what conversations you may have depending on the group that you may be with. There's been a lot of foundations and charity events where different business ventures are being thrown around, businessmen, women, and like I said, business deals are constructed. Sometimes
and pickleball's kind of the same here on the court.
Yeah, same space, same vibe. So I've been able to kind of like really just kind of being able to capitalize on the growth of this $1 billion industry.
I went to this Texas Ranchers MLP team. They had a NFL day with David Mugoletta, I think his name is, the big agent. Anyways,
okay.
And it was CJ Stroud, it was Micah Parsons, it was Deshaun Watson. It was like all these huge players, right?
And those guys, I know, I think I've seen some of those hits and pickleballs back and forth. Terrible.
It was rough. I'll tell you who wasn't that bad was Micah Parsons.
Oh, really?
And he loves it. And I've talked to Micah since then. I think he's kind of into it.
No, I saw an article come out where he contributes some of, I guess, what he's doing, like by playing pickleball.
Yeah.
Like he's a big pickleballer or whatever.
Well,
So
I think it was crazy that like I was kind of blown away that these world-class athletes, you know, like I don't want to name names, but their footwork was so bad. It's a different thing, I guess.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
You're running lateral.
Yeah, you got to think about, like, it's an easier transition for tennis player because it's on the same court.
Footwork, yeah.
You know what I mean?
But I just thought these guys would be, even hand-eye coordination.
Well, hand-eye, again, as receivers, like, you would think, like, yeah, somebody that catches the ball, like, we would obviously be better with it.
But it's different than
it's a bit different because, like, the ball is light.
Yeah.
It has a bunch of holes in it, and you literally have to hit it with enough force and touch to get it over the net. Yeah. And then as far as drives, like, everybody wants to do drives because it doesn't take much to do a drive. But when it comes to the finesse part of the game and the progression and playing with higher level, that's where the dinking and the touch comes into play. And then, like I said, the cross court and all that stuff, like, that's remarkable. Like the tuies.
Yeah. How about a dream pickleball partner, pro or celebrity? Is there someone that you?
Oh, man, I just played with her, Anna Bright. I mean, I would love to play with, some of the male guys, like you said. I mean,
Tyson.
And I mean, obviously, with the event that we did in San Francisco,
Christian and Gabe.
Christian Alshon, I got a chance to play with, and obviously played a little bit at Necker in the little tournament against Gabe or whatever, him and Jesse Irvine. And I played with Jesse in the tournament as well, and so I'm pretty sure she would probably appreciate my game now more so than I did last year because, I felt bad because I'm pretty sure she had a lot better, more expectations of my game.
She's very patient though.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm pretty sure we didn't win.
Yeah.
We didn't win. And it wasn't because of her. It was because of me. So
that's fair.
So I knew. So just as I did, I knew coming into this game, I didn't want to be a big drop off from a pro player. Like I want to be, okay, a little bit more work. He's respectable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
What's next for you in life? In pickleball, it sounds like you want to play in some pro or senior pro events.
I want to see what I can do. Yeah. Obviously, I haven't played any pro, any tournaments like singles.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm going to probably start at like 3-5 just to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's like, I feel like, if I lose, I lose. But I'm going to get a vibe. I'm going to feel it. I'm going to feel it out and see what I need to work on. And people already, they're seeing the progression. And I play some singles with some more experienced players. And I play them like, I'm seeing what I can do, what I can't do, and what I need to work on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Well, Terrell, I so appreciate your time. You've been someone that I've watched for years, just dominate my Falcons and just this total stud. And I think just getting to know you, man, you're super humble, super kind. And I just saw how you treated people last night and, got to spend a little time with you on Necker Island. And so I'm very grateful for your time and it was awesome to hear your story.
And I appreciate, all of you guys and being on this Pickleballers podcast. And then, TL, I'm coming to a pickleball court near you. So thanks for having me, to you and Roscoe, who obviously had to run out to play in that tournament.
Let's go. Thank you so much.
Yeah, absolutely.